The outpost of Valen, 12 floated in the shadow of a gas giant, its endless storms casting turbulent bands of light across the lonely station hull. To most, it was nothing but a forgotten service dock. But to Elias Carter, a Terran systems engineer, it was a haven of quiet work far from the chaos of the inner colonies. Elias had always been more comfortable with machines than with people. At 34, his world revolved around gears, conduits, and power arrays. His colleagues teased him for his near-romantic devotion to engines, but it didn't bother him. Machines didn't lie. They broke, sure, but when they did, it was always for a reason. Fix the reason and they worked again. People, on the other hand, were mysteries he had never solved. One storm cycle, when the outpost was mostly silent except for the hum of the power cores, the docking bay alarms trilled. Elias frowned. No ships had been scheduled. He pulled up the manifest. Nothing. No authorization codes. Still, the bay doors groaned open. A sleek, battered craft slid in, smoke trailing from its hull. Its design was foreign, sleek like a predator's claw, nothing like the boxy transports of the colonies. It hit the deck hard, skidding until the magnetic locks caught. Elias should have called security. He should have locked the bay down. Instead, curiosity got the better of him. He grabbed his toolkit and hurried to the ship. The hatch hissed. Out stumbled a figure clad in worn armor, scorched and cracked. Her face was hidden beneath a dented helm, her movements sharp and deliberate despite clear injuries. "You," she rasped, voice distorted by her helmet modulator. "Engineer, help me. I need repairs." Her accent was strange, heavy with an almost melodic cadence. She staggered and caught herself against the ship's hull. Elias blinked. "You're lucky you didn't vaporize half the bay coming in. Your stabilizers are fried. Looks like your reactors."
"Later," she snapped.
"First the ship. Enemies follow." Enemies. The word chilled him. Pirates, maybe. Or worse. Elias hesitated. He wasn't a fighter. But machines? Those he understood. And this woman, warrior or not, looked like she would collapse if he delayed.
"Fine," he said.
"But if this thing blows, we're both stardust." He rolled up his sleeves and got to work. Middle. Hours bled away as Elias labored over the alien vessel. The ship was unlike anything he had ever touched. Layered alloys that responded to heat differently, plasma conduits braided in organic patterns, a fusion core that pulsed like a living heart. Every time he thought he understood one system, it revealed 3 more. The armored woman stayed close, watching him with piercing eyes through her visor. She never removed the helmet, though Elias suspected it wasn't only habit but necessity. She didn't trust him. "Where did you even get this tech?" he asked at one point, sweat dripping from his brow. "Stolen," she said flatly. Then, after a pause, "Reclaimed." Her tone brooked no further questions. But Elias had plenty. Why did her armor bear markings he didn't recognize? Why did her voice carry a weight, a gravity, that made even her simplest words feel commanding? And why did her presence unsettle him in a way no pirate or smuggler ever had? The more he worked, the more he caught fragments of her muttered words about fleets, about betrayal, about vengeance. A warrior, certainly, but not a common one. On the 3rd day, as he spliced unfamiliar circuits with makeshift adapters, she collapsed without warning. Elias barely caught her before she hit the deck. The weight of her armor was immense, but he managed to pry the helmet off. For the first time, he saw her face. She was not what he expected. Not the scarred, grizzled veteran he had imagined, but young, no older than him, with features so sharply regal they seemed sculpted. Her hair was jet black, braided with tiny metallic threads that shimmered faintly. Her skin carried a faint silver hue, not paint but natural luminescence. And her eyes, impossible eyes, burned with golden irises that almost glowed. Elias froze. The stories came back to him. Tales whispered in backwater cantinas about a lineage older than the Coalition, about rulers who vanished into legend. The imperial bloodline of Astara, the Empress who united half the galaxy before vanishing centuries ago. He swallowed hard. "You're not just a warrior, are you?" Her eyes fluttered open, focusing on him. "No," she whispered. "I am Elias Carter, last Empress of Astara." Elias nearly dropped her. An Empress? In his docking bay. "Why hide it?" he asked, his voice low. Her gaze hardened. "Because the title paints a target. My empire fell to treachery. My people scattered. Those who hunt me want the last ember extinguished." Elias leaned back, trying to breathe. He had thought he was patching up a warrior's ship. Instead, he was repairing the flagship of a fallen dynasty. And the woman in his arms wasn't just a fugitive. She was the rightful heir to a galactic throne. And enemies were coming. They arrived 2 cycles later. The outpost shuddered as 3 warships dropped out of warp. Their insignias, crimson serpents on black, were unmistakable. The Kareth Dominion. Ruthless, merciless, the very faction rumored to have shattered the Esteran Empire. Elias had no weapons. The outpost had nothing but defense drones, laughable against a Dominion fleet. His only chance was the ship he had been repairing. But it wasn't ready. "Elira," he shouted, rushing to her quarters. "They're here." The Dominion. She stood already armored, helm tucked beneath her arm. Her golden eyes blazed with fury. "Then we fight." "Fight? With what?" "Your ship's reactor is still unstable. If we push it too hard, then it burns. But better it burns in battle than rots in hiding." Elias shook his head. "You'll die. So will you, engineer, if you stay here." He stared at her, this fallen empress, this impossible woman who carried herself with unyielding defiance. Against every instinct screaming at him to run, he felt something ignite inside him. Not just fear, not just awe, but a fierce, stubborn loyalty. "Then I guess I'm coming with you." Her eyes widened, then softened for the briefest instant. She nodded. Together, they boarded the ship. Ending. The Dominion hailed them, demanding surrender. Elira answered with silence. Elias sat at the unfamiliar controls, his hands flying over alien systems he had only half understood. Warnings blared across the console, but the reactor stabilized under his careful adjustments. The ship came alive like a beast roused from slumber. Elira took the weapon station. When the Dominion fired the first salvo, she answered with plasma lances that tore through one cruiser's hull. The battle was chaos. Elias pushed the ship beyond safety margins, coaxing impossible speed and maneuverability from its wounded core. Each time the reactor screamed in protest, he soothed it with calculated adjustments. Elira fought like a goddess of war, her command sharp, her strikes merciless. For the first time in centuries, the Dominion met resistance from the Empress they thought long dead. The fight stretched into hours. One enemy cruiser shattered into debris. The second limped away, engines aflame. The third pressed hard, hounding them with relentless fire. The ship's hull buckled. Consoles exploded in sparks. Elias felt the deck shudder beneath him. "This is it," he muttered. "No," Elira said, her voice steel. "This is rebirth."